happens to be here, and she's going to do us all the blessing of reading a poem of hers to you, and then I'm going to have to get up and attempt to follow it afterwards. Anyway, Lauren, do I adjust this for you? Okay. Anyway, welcome up, Lauren Zuniga.
It's a good day. It's a good day. There's obviously still a fight, but it's like there's a little light inside the fight here. How many of you were born and raised in Oklahoma? I have a bet going with someone in Mississippi. We've had a bet for like 3 years of like who would be the last state. And I was like, we got this. I mean, have you seen what we, every time when Mary Fallon got up there, I was like, see, we never. It's never happened. And then today, shit, my daughter and I were just like in front of the news, like hoping they were gonna say something about it. They were like, we have a small victory. We were like, here it is. There's only 2 wildfires. We're like, that's it? That's the victory? Anyway, thank you so much, Andrea, for letting me do a poem. Andrea fucking Gibson is in Oklahoma. It seems like an appropriate day for that. I know when we first started hanging out a lot, we did a show together, and I took my kids to the show, and there was a line all the way out the door. Maybe you saw that tonight, and my daughter was like, "What's going on here?" And then there were some girls that were like crying, and they were hyperventilating, and my daughter was like, "I think these girls think about Andrea the way I think about Justin Bieber." I was like, "Yeah, welcome. Welcome." And then Andrea started making me listen to all this sad gay music, and felt like there was a lot I had to learn about being queer. Anybody ever had that feeling? Like maybe they don't really know all the right words and things like that. So, confessions of an uneducated queer. I don't really understand Judith Butler. I once tried to reference Foucault at a party to make myself sound smart, and my friend politely corrected me and said it's pronounced Foucault. The only reason I tried to read either of them is because my roommates who went to college left their books at my house. In my teens, I sensed that sexuality was a spectrum I didn't have all the words for. In my 20s, I was called a slut for being attracted to so many points on the spectrum. For years, I operated under 3 beliefs gifted to me by lovers. 1, I don't get to be gay. 2, there is no such thing as bisexual. And 3, I am the straightest woman on the planet. I mean, I don't know that I've ever listened to an entire Tegan and Sarah song. Addendum. My previous roommates, where are you at? They made me listen to an entire Tegan and Sarah album. I've only seen 1 season of the L Word, though. I had sex with at least 3 women before I was able to call it sex. The only thing they teach you less about in school than how to make sense of your own body is how to support others in theirs. Something a poet named Tara Hardy taught me is called allyship. I first heard the term binding in an Andrea Gibson workshop on gender where Ray talked about how he felt when binding his breasts. Ray dated my sister in the initial stages of his transition, and my sister and I stumbled all over the pronouns and terms. We weren't sure if Ray was a transsexual girl or a transgender boy until the poet Dane Cutler sat us down in an ice cream shop in Seattle and said, "Babies, it's time for Trans 101. That class cost me $4.50 and a half hour of my friend's patience, which led me to learn the term cisgender. When the poet Sam Sachs and his boyfriend escorted me and my girlfriend to the most famous lesbian bar in San Francisco, and then when we left, he said, "Wow, they don't usually let cis dudes hang out in there that long." I was embarrassed to ask what he meant, but when he said that he identified with the gender assigned to him at birth, I felt a sudden wave of comfort wash over me in acknowledgement of my own privilege, $12 in whiskey sodas and a loving bearded smirk, which led me to learn the term passing privilege. When I was dating a woman I worked with at the state capitol, and I was afraid to kiss her in the hallway with her short hair and her fancy suit, until the poet Denise Jolly looked me in the eye and said, "Lauren, it is not fair for you to let her take all the shit. Getting to conveniently be straight isn't helping anyone. $3 in cheesy grits and a friend unapologetically telling me about myself. Everything I know about being a good queer, I've learned from poets. Poets are cheaper than college." But we don't all have access to the most helpful words. We don't all have access to fancy college courses or traveling the country to get schooled by poets. I was afraid to write this because I didn't want to fuck it up. Writing poems about things that you don't know a lot about can be very problematic. But not writing poems because you're afraid to fuck it up can also be problematic. The world is problematic. Please, fuck it up. This is for the first time I heard the term heteronormative, and I felt like I was handed a corkscrew after years of opening the bottle with my teeth. This is for the dyke at the gas company who had no idea who Ani DeFranco was. For not identifying as bisexual, but paying respects to everyone who fought to keep the B in LGBT. This is for the Q, for the Q, for the I, for the A. What's that spell? Hey! I hope someday we string so many letters together it forms a new word that takes all of our mouths to pronounce. This is for my mom, who can never get my love's pronouns right, but bought me every Rita Mae Brown book so that I could be a good lesbian. For my friend who told me I had to read Stone Butch Blues before they could have another conversation with me. For learning how to properly carry the word femme and then dropping the whole tray on the hard tile. For trying on new words, slick spoon words, dusty attic words, fuck up everybody's shit, and look good doing it words. This is for the girls that still get drunk to kiss other girls. I get it. Oppression is a loud room. Sometimes we can't hear our own pulse. For my daughter, who stood up to the kids when they called her friend gay. Mom, you said it like it was a bad thing. For my best friend in high school, Luther Pegues, who was so convinced he was going to hell that he fashioned his life into a loaded pistol. Luther, if you are still alive, please come find me. I wish I had had all the smart words back then. For every Jerry Fine joining the military to get to be gay, learning all the gay music to have a code to speak in. For survival, for all of those that survived under Don't Ask, Don't Tell and still wish they had it as a shield of protection. For Mary Bishop and Sharon Baldwin for filing a lawsuit 10 years ago and then finally receiving a decision. For every Beth Ann who snuck into the bookstore in the next town to read everything on the 2-foot LGBT section before going to her Bible study. For the folks that can't read but still subvert the dominant paradigm on the daily. And for Ray, who listened to the first draft of this poem and then wanted to not have a problem with it, who sat with me until it felt right to him. And then his father called him on the phone and said he didn't come from a family of faggots. This is for all of us. Scraping the binary from our softest parts and being gentle with each other as we fuck it all up. And for those fancy, educated, queer theorists, thank you. Thank you.